We just got ourselves a brand new huge leak for today's video. Now this leak has a lot of information going up from season 22 all the way to beyond 2024, so it's going to be a huge one. And as always, when it comes to these leaks, I would advise you guys to go get a snack and of course to take all this information with a grain of salt. However, this huge leak does have a lot of plausible information that could happen, so credibility could be a bit more on this one than previous leaks in the past. I would also recommend for you guys to subscribe here on the channel as we are trying to get to 30k and we are so close. I will be doing a face reveal at it, so if you guys don't mind, please be sure to subscribe and like the video for feedback. Other than that, let's get right into it. Now with season 22, all of you guys know the return of Savathun is inevitable at this point, and it looks like this leak will take that even further, as the season apparently is being called Season of the Witch, and it will really focus on Amaru and Savathun in this next season. So Eris and Crow will be in this season. We will be collecting loosened ghosts so we can find Amaru. Amaru is locked up in a Scorn prison by the order of Zethu. Venus was apparently planned to come in this season, but was changed to fit a quote-unquote new narrative. We rescue Amaru, gaining his trust. Savathun is resurrected. The Crow has a crucial role in this season thanks to his past, and a recap of Forsaken events for new players important for Kay's return. Apparently, according to Savathun, a sacrifice is needed in order for us to enter the portal. Was originally supposed to be us finding a MacGuffin on Venus, supposedly a Vex-related artifact. The sacrifice involves Zavala, the decision because he no longer wants immortality. The pain of Amanda's death from Season of Defiance is the reason for this. The source did not explicitly state that he would die, and apparently Keitel is not pleased by the Lucent Alliance because of what the Hive has done to her homeworld, but accepts reality. So just looking at that real quick, that has a lot of information that could definitely happen. Of course, big, threats such as Savathun returning will definitely have a huge, twist in the narrative in terms of the characters that would be involved in that said narrative. So Crow coming back into it, playing a crucial role, as well as Zavala's sacrifice. Those are really big ones. Again, time will tell if those do happen. Now, apparently going further into the activities for the season, it will be a public event base, similar to Season of Arrivals. We free trapped loosened ghosts from Wrathborn and Vex across the system. Saladin has bounties of targets for us to defeat across the system. Bounties will drop seasonal weapons and will be tied to unlocking a new exotic. And a new PvP map, which is in the Vex network, has been confirmed as well to come in this season. Now apparently Crota's End will return. As you guys know, there will be a reprise raid this next coming season, and it looks more evidence than ever that Crota's End will be returning. There won't be a quote-unquote no new encounter, however all encounters are longer with changed mechanics. The bridge encounter revolves around getting buffs and having people cross the bridge with said buffs. Necrochasm will return as the raid exotic. There's no Cruise of a Crota in apparently this raid, and the Crota fight will have more drastic changes as we talked about the past, with the Crota's End boss fight apparently being Crota. There will be different changes than just getting a sword and using that to, of course, destroy his shield, and then using weapons to, of course, do DPS against Crota. There's a lot of changes going to happen to the Crota boss fight, which is good to know. Now apparently, as we go further into this league, we will go into Season 23, the last season before the Final Shape expansion. Apparently this season will be called Season of the Exodus. We will help restore colony ships in the system in the Cosmodrome, Europa, and Nessus, and it will play into this seasonal activity. Ada 1 will have provided gear and a safe haven in the vaults of the Elixni refugees. There will be a slight closure to the House of Light story for now. Source didn't provide any more details. Obviously, you guys know there's going to be something going on with the House of Light, with, of course, House of Salvation, Aramis, and Mithrax. Apparently, there's supposed to be a closing story to that, and I think that will happen hopefully in Season 23, but we could even see it earlier on if time will tell. Now apparently the Black Armories will return, won't have the glow effect from the Black Armory season. However, the Garden of Salvation raid weapons will be reprised how this season we had the Subclass with trade weapons reprised. We could definitely see that for Garden. Now apparently the dungeon is currently named the Graveyard of Kings and will be set in the Cosmodrome. Aramis might be the final boss, but sources unsure. The Scorn and Fallen will be in there as enemies. They are Salvation Splicer loyalists on a mission to find an ancient technology deep in the wall, which is very curious to me. I don't know what that technology is, but it will be kind of cool to see another Cosmodrome dungeon. Now, the Exodus Crash and the Inverted Spiral are reprised with changed mechanics. Scorn will be present in Exodus Crash. The Cabal and Inverted Spiral are now Shadow Legion. Now, we know this for sure because those two strikes have been told to us by Bungie that we'll be getting new changes, so I can't wait to see what those changes are, and hopefully they will come true. Now, apparently the Citadel map from in the Crucible will be returning. You guys know that is confirmed by Bungie, alongside a new Iron Banner set, which will be really cool. Now, the source is unsure about these little changes that, who knows, will come in the next 2 seasons. Apparently, there will be 2 returning D2 strikes, at least 2 strikes for the final shape and said seasons after Season 22. There will be new Trials armor, 99% Season 22, but could be saved for post-final shape, more Veil containment, and the Traveler and Veil origin cutscene. So those things are just going to be unsure for now, but they look legitimate enough. I would love to see 2 strikes return in some of these next couple future seasons. I loved how they did in Season of the Chosen, where they added like 3 strikes. Again, 2 were returning, 1 was new. I definitely want to have some new strikes for us to play in. Now, the upcoming quality of life changes, you guys know, a lot of these are stuff we already know, so I'm not going to say everything as you guys already know them, but there's some little things in here that we really need to talk about. So LFG in Season 23, we obviously know that's confirmed. The Exotic Mission Rotator as well will be something happening in Season 22. Apparently, Hawkmoon and DMT will be removed from Xur, replaceable by perchable deep sight activators, 1 per week. Gambit and Dares of Eternity will be placed in a new spot on the map, mostly after Final Shape, will be tied to a future Saga, as Drifter will be a major character instead of a vendor in the future. Gambit and Dares will not get significant updates before Final Shape, but might get loot overhauls in the future. Enhancement Prisms will be removed, any in your inventory will be combined into Ascendant Shards. Enhancement cores will be removed and replaced by the crafting XP system. You masterwork a weapon at a specific level. All weapons have mementos, which is really curious to me. I don't know if that's going to happen. Changes will be made to the currencies and items in your inventory to make things easier and less cluttered. See what they did with seasonal engrams. Accommodations will be updated to fit more of a purpose. If you collect a certain amount of specific accommodation, you get guide, quote unquote. A set of accommodations will be rewards tied to guiding. This is definitely something I'm not sure about. Accommodations is kind of just worthless to me, and a lot of people can agree to that statement. So if they do something with accommodations, I would love so, but again, time will tell. Accommodations will not be tied to guardian ranks anymore, which is kind of nice. I think it's not required for any guardian rank level up. Power level will stay the same until Final Shape will be overhauled in the future. Bungie might bring back the old level system and remove power completely. It would still be a level to reach for every expansion, to be able to play that expansion's endgame content, etc., but all other endgame activities will not be capped. So again, we talked about power level being a huge change in the future, and again, time will tell once Bungie will actually initiate that change. Hopefully in the Final Shape showcase, we will find out what they're going to do with power level. I think it's inevitable that we are going to get a power level rework, but again, Bungie hasn't made a official release date for that. Now let's go into the Final Shape. There's some information here, and it will be pretty nice to see what's up with it. Now apparently the location is called the Skyrim, and the opening area is called the Valley. The old locations will be present here. There will be 8 story missions plus 3 disciple bosses, at least 1 new strike. I think it's kind of definite that Bungie gives us 1 new strike. I would love at least a couple more, but apparently at least 1 is confirmed. New enemy race called the Shadow. See old D1 concept art, similar to Taken, but with more of a cloud of VFX. Now, just something to talk about. The new enemy race being called the Shadow. I'm not really so happy with this name. Hopefully if this does come true, that there's a whole new name. This is literally just taking the Shadow Legion and just putting Shadow instead of Legion. I don't know if I'm a fan of that, but just let me know your thoughts in the comments. Cade will return, obviously, act as a guide through this new location. Vex and Taken are all present in this location as well. The Vex are the sole divisive. Of course, if you guys love the Vex from the original Destiny 1 campaigns, you would know the sole divisive is pretty important. And the main antagonist is the Witness plus additional disciple bosses. Now, also, we have talked about a couple times last week about this subclass being leaked, and it looks like that is kind of the case. Now, apparently this new Last Darkness subclass will be called Strife, which will be red, blood, orange, and it will have egregore, tree branches, VFX, revolves heavily around chaos and rage. We learned Strife quite early in the campaign after bleeding ourselves with a pyramid artifact. More fragments and aspects and stuff will be unlocked throughout the campaign. I'm so interested in this. It's just cool to me because I was kind of predicting that the last subclass would start with an S. I know it's not a huge big deal, but it's just cool that if this is called Strife, then all the Darkness subclass would start with an S. And I guess there's nothing hugely unique with that, but it is really cool. Now, red orange, I think that is gonna be the color for the Last Darkness subclass, and of course revolving around chaos and rage. This is something that I definitely would love to see. I think Strand again was more about consciousness and our power to use it and weave things into our own like new idea. Same with sort of that stasis idea, but that was something that the Darkness gave to us. Now this is kind of like the main Darkness stuff, like chaos, rage, like we are finally pursuing that original Darkness tree of actually just going around and causing chaos, which I hopefully does come true. I'd love for that to happen. Now lastly, some little things here on the raid and on the post final shape. Now apparently there's no information about the raid, only that it takes place inside this new location. Of course that's obvious. We know that we're going to face the Witness, and there has been like mechanics revolving around how the Witness will have like 3 encounters determining its like its own DPS phase. It's something interesting. I don't know if that's going to happen, but I think it's pretty plausible that the Witness will be the raid boss. Now looking ahead to beyond the final shape, apparently there's 3 seasons in 2024, there will be a 10th anniversary pack in late of 2024, and there will be no expansion in 2025, but might consist of 2 larger drops like House of Wolves, Crota's End, Warmind, instead of the 4 seasons. Looking at that makes perfect sense. I think a 10th anniversary pack, which would be really cool for Bungie to drop like they did with the 30th anniversary Bungie pack, that would be really cool. So seeing that again, I would think very plausible. And then I would definitely love, if there's no planned expansion for 2025, those 2 larger drops. But I'm not really a huge fan with the 3 seasons in 2024. As you guys know, we finished the Light and Dark Saga in the final shape. What is there to really tell, and does Bungie really need to stop and, you know, change some things in terms of the seasonal model, in terms of like how the game has been operating in the last couple of, you know, months? Is there need to be a kind of a sort of like a silent time for Bungie in Destiny, and then they go off strong in their new thing? I don't know. Just let me know your thoughts. Now apparently there's a trilogy of expansions planned for 2026 and beyond. The expansion 1's codename is Chaos, the expansion's 2 codename is Path, and the 3rd expansion's codename is Relativity. Now I don't know, again, these codenames don't really mean too much to us, but if this is the case, then they're planning to probably have Destiny go up to 2028, 2029, you know, in terms of these expansions are planned. So 3 expansions, that's usually how they're going to go out, with new stories, a little trilogy of some sort. So it looks like if they're going to start something new in this next trilogy, they're going to plan for 3 expansions. Now the pitch story for right now in terms of this trilogy is that it will explore the Vex and the Nine and end our conflict with Xedo Arath. The concept art planets will have very alien life, black high forests on an icy planet, could be Pluto. Plan to go back to the original D1 roots of not really understanding anything, with big emphasis on exploration. Only minor concepts and pitches exist for right now, and the expansion 1 will begin its development in 2024. Now looking at that, of course, that finishes off the leak for today's video, but I think it has a lot of plausible information. In terms of beyond the final shape, this is more concise, and I feel like it's more true than the other one that we got. The other one was just going off on how much things there were talking about the Vex and the, you know, the Nine and all this, and this kind of just says, okay, we'll explore more of the Vex and the Nine, there will be new locations, but we really won't understand anything. And I think a lot of people do kind of like that idea. Destiny 1's nostalgic taste on things back in 2014 was really you didn't understand too much, but you just enjoyed how the game was operating, and there was just a big emphasis on just exploring our big, huge universe. And I think people, they want to go back to that taste. I feel like Destiny 2 just changed a little bit of that pitch of the story, and I don't think a lot of people like that because, I don't know, people just had a lot of hatred towards Bungie during the first original years of Destiny 2, but who knows. So yeah, guys, that kind of finished up the video. Hope you enjoyed, and hope to see you in the next video. Bye, guys.